Hey, what's up? This is Rachel Cancino-Neal, health restoration coach and nutritional therapy practitioner. I am here with my husband, Derek Neal.
Wow, that was a mouthful.
He is here to help me explain the body, the complicated body, in an uncomplicated way as we explore different parts of it on the Intricately Woven podcast. So, Spousey, are you ready for this?
As ready as I can be.
All right, we're going to see what we can get done here. We're on to episode 2. Episode 1. Remember that time, Derek?
I do.
That one episode we've done so far?
I remember that one.
Yeah. So in that episode, we focus on 6 foundations that can impact your health. I gave you a broad overview of digestion, blood sugar regulation, fatty acids, minerals, hydration, and the importance of a nutrient-dense diet. From here on out, we're going to be really focusing on the details of each of those foundations and integrating some information that can support each of those things. I have no idea how many episodes it'll take. I'm assuming a lot. So get ready for that. Also get ready because I like to share lots of information. And so if you're a nerd like me, you're going to really appreciate all of that. However, if you are not a nerd like me...
More like me.
Yes, you will be really tuning into my husband's voice instead, who will, give you the highlights of what has been shared.
Basically, I'm going to do my best to translate, so we'll see how that goes.
Translate and to clarify.
I'll ask questions
if
I don't understand.
So, are you ready, Derek?
Let's go.
We're going to start with a really deep thought.
Oh boy.
I think most people have heard the saying, I think, therefore I am. You heard that one?
I have.
Okay. It was stated by a French philosopher who became known as the father of modern philosophy. I was going to try to learn how to say his name, but I just figured somebody else can look it up and figure it out. But I thought this saying was really great for summarizing where we're starting today.
Okay.
And that is how the nervous system impacts digestion. Okay, so we know foundation number 1 was about pay attention to digestion. It would be a big mistake not to talk first about how the nervous system impacts your digestive functions. Okay, do you have any idea why, Derek?
Well, I mean, if I'm stressed, I know the stress will affect how well my body can communicate with itself and actually digest the food.
Okay, so you are aware of this.
Yes.
Because
I've heard you talk about it a lot.
So yeah, when we're talking about digestion, we need to take a pause from focusing on that one system and take a step back and look at the nervous system and how the brain interacts with those digestive functions. Okay, so if you remember back in episode 1, way back when, a couple weeks ago, I said that the brain is the kickstarter for digestive processes. That's because the brain is actually a part of the nervous system. Did you know that?
I don't know if I knew that or not.
Okay. It's one of those things I learned a long time ago, and I don't really know who knows that just off the top of their head. So in case you didn't know it, the brain is part of the nervous system, specifically a part of the central nervous system. And a part of that is also the spinal cord. So brain, spinal cord creates the central nervous system, and then everything outside of those areas for the nervous system is called the peripheral nervous system. So like if you create a picture in your mind, you can think about this as a tree, right? So if you look out, you see a beautiful tree, you see all the green leaves, think, oh, that's the brain. And you see the trunk of the tree and you can think, oh wow, what a spinal cord that is. And then as you look at the roots, that would be the peripheral.
That's quite the picture.
That is quite.
You painted.
Thank you. Actually, other people have painted that picture as well, and they're actually finding it's more true that the tree could reflect the nervous system. And, anyways, little tidbit there. But the interesting thing is, the brain is actually directly connected to digestive organs through what's called the vagus nerve.
Vagus nerve.
Vagus nerve. Derek, did you understand my scientific jargon there?
Well, I understood the picture of the tree.
Okay.
But I did gather that the brain is involved in digestion.
So when you are eating food in a distracted state or a stressful state, then your digestion takes a hit. Derek, what are some examples that you can think of distracted eating?
Eating in front of the TV.
Okay.
Or eating while driving down the road.
Yep, very common, right? How about when you're angry? Does that ever occur?
Oh, yeah.
Stressed?
Yep.
Even sometimes when you're grieving, those states of grieving.
Mm-hmm.
What about when you're like really into a TV show or really into a book and you're eating, shoveling food into your mouth as you're eating?
I have no idea what I'm eating.
Right. So those would be examples of different types of distracted eating. Right?
Okay.
Okay, so when we are looking at the best way of using your food, your brain needs to be in a rest and digest state, right? That triggers your whole nervous system to be in rest and digest. That's called a parasympathetic response.
Ooh, I remember that word.
Okay, so we have the parasympathetic and sympathetic. In order to best use our food, we need to be in a parasympathetic response. So going back to the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, okay? The tree, the part that you remembered.
Yep, I got the tree.
The tree analogy. Okay, so that vagus nerve will be the main carrier of this rest and digest response. And that goes down to the digestive organs. The fight or flight will oppose rest and digest. Derek?
All right, so I gotcha. If you're stressed, that's going to fight against your digestion.
Correct. If you're stressed or if your mind is distracted by something else, that doesn't necessarily put you in a fight or flight mode, but it acts in a similar way where it goes against digestion.
Okay.
You also need to remember that working out stresses out the body too. So if you're like working out, getting a really good sweat, heart rate is up, and then you just stop doing that, you do a quick cool down maybe, and then you go and eat. Well, if your heart rate hasn't fully settled, you're still kind of sweaty, you're still kind of hot, your body hasn't made that shift over to the parasympathetic state. So it would be a good idea just to let the body fully come back down and wait, if you can, to eat after a good workout too. So the way we're looking at I think, therefore I am, considering stress is probably a common thing, stressful eating or emotional eating, right? I think I am stressed, therefore I'm stressed. So I'm going to ask you, if you think you are stressed, therefore you're stressed, is your body going to be in that rest and digest or that fight or flight stressful state?
Well, obviously it's going to be in the fight or flight.
Okay, so it's kind of like in the name, right?
Yeah.
So when you're in that stressful fight or flight or just distracted state, your body can't engage with the rest and digest functions. Okay? So if we do that like once in a while, once in a while I eat while I'm distracted, okay. If you do that every single time, especially at mealtime when you tend to eat more food, every single time, what do you expect might start happening?
I have no idea. You want to give me some help?
Derek, I'll give you some help. You're not going to be able to use your food as well, right? So I mentioned this in the first episode where I said you can have this beautiful plate of food and be distracted while eating it, and you're not going to get the full benefit of that food. Because simply two of the organs that directly take a hit the fastest is your pancreas and your stomach. Both of those things are necessary to digest your food and to start getting it ready for absorption. The other thing that happens, so your digestive organs are impacted, but also you have all these smooth muscles that go, what I like to call from the mouth, the south end. Basically, more so in your throat down to your rectum. All these muscles that work and nice pulsating rhythmic motions to move everything down. When you're not in the proper rest and digest state, those muscles cannot work properly. They're just not going to engage in the same way. Okay? So a symptom from this could be constipation.
Okay.
Do you have any idea why that could be?
Well, if your muscles aren't pushing the stuff down, that could probably be a cause.
Right? Yes, it is, because they can't move that stuff in the right way. So things slow down and they can't move through properly. So we have it where the stomach gets a hit, the pancreas because it cannot produce the fullness of enzymes, and then the muscles that move the products along also take a hit. So if you want to see more of how this multi-layer approach is and why mindful eating is a thing, you can check out this article. Are you ready for the title?
Yeah.
I love these titles that are so complicated. They're fantastic. Mindful Eating, a review of how the stress-digestion-mindfulness triad may modulate and improve gastrointestinal and digestive function. Got that?
Nope. But I know it's about mindful eating.
Okay. So, yeah, if you want to learn more about mindful eating, check out that article, and it gives you a lot more details.
Okay.
I want to give you a little tidbit here of my own health journey. Throughout different episodes, I probably will insert some stuff, just so you know I'm a real person. I really have been through things. Is that right, Derek?
It is very true.
Very true. I don't want to give you the whole thing right now, because then why would you come back for future episodes? So I'm going to give you this little bit right now. Currently, I'm 34 years old. At 23 years old, I went from being very healthy, that I thought. When I say very healthy, I was rarely sick with some kinds of infections. I had other stuff going on, but I wouldn't have considered myself to be sick. But at 23 years old, my hubby and I had just been married for a few months. And then we were in the middle of doing P90X, and we were rocking it. You remember that?
I do.
Man, we were doing so good. And we were doing, I can remember it so vividly. We were in the middle, or after doing Kempo X, which was awesome. I always felt super powerful when I did that. And I was doing one of the stretches, and I tried to bend my ankle, and it just hurt so much. My right foot would not go into full flexion. And it just got progressively worse, to the point where I couldn't walk up straight anymore because it hurt too much. And for some reason, leaning forward, truly like an 80-year-old woman, was how I was walking.
Yeah.
It didn't just stick in the Achilles tendon, though, did it?
Nope.
My toes started swelling so much that I thought my toes were going to rupture. And I would cry at night often. And my fingers were having similar symptoms. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. Finally came to the point where I had to get on medication because I really couldn't I couldn't drive. I couldn't hold my water bottle very well. My husband sometimes would have to carry me up the stairs. We lived in apartments at the time, and he had to carry me up the stairs. Derek, I'm looking at your face. Tell me, what was that experience like for you?
I mean, it was pretty scary. I mean, just getting married and having these plans of traveling and enjoying the world, and then you couldn't walk and do a lot of the just day-to-day things.
Yeah.
What was next?
Yeah. It wasn't a pleasant experience. There was a lot of crying.
There was.
A lot of confusion. And it took a while to get some answers, but based on my symptoms, I was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis. And that is what put me on this huge journey. That was, I don't even know, 12 years ago almost. And the exciting thing about kind of changing up my journey was, or going on this whole discovery, is one, I'm not on medication. I do take supplements and herbs that are specific for my body, and I've done different kinds of testing, but I have learned a whole lot that I get to share with you now. So that's pretty exciting that I don't regret going on this journey, that's for sure. So for the first several years, I was just trying to figure stuff out. And I did end up going to I did natural therapy. I did it through a naturopathic doctor, and I went to a doctor of Chinese medicine. And both of them helped me. And this brings me to the point where we're at today. They both helped. They both saw my symptoms. They both knew something was wrong. The naturopathic did blood work. The doctor of Chinese medicine did like pulse taking. And both were able to tell me, okay, there's some stuff that's off here. But neither of them helped me to see how my symptoms weren't just involved in just one system of the body. that they all interact. And a few years ago, I was introduced to the Wellness Way, which is a company based out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and they have offices all over now. But their premise is that the body doesn't make mistakes, and you have to keep considering the body as a whole. And when you're looking at symptoms, don't get caught up in just the symptoms. You need to see what's going on here, what systems can be talking right now. Okay. So that brings me to how I was able to take it all the way back to my digestive functions. And for years, since I was a kid, I've had digestive issues. And nobody really helped me to see the stress that was in my life that was impacting my brain function. The brain function was impacting my digestion. And that's why we're starting where we're at today, right? I knew stress was affecting me, but I didn't have tangible things to say, this is how it's affecting you. This is things that could help you. Okay? So that's why we're starting where we're at. I want you to realize that your brain directly impacts digestion. What are you thinking there, Derek?
I have no idea what I'm thinking right now.
He has no idea, folks. No idea. I think he's just soaking it all in.
I am just reliving the journey that you've been on.
Mm-hmm.
Of that search for answers.
Yeah, it was a long search.
Yeah.
It's a long search. And again, that's why, our little tagline here is helping you put the pieces of your health together, what we say at the end of the podcast. So spoiler, I will say that again. But it's because I don't want you to get caught up in your symptoms and miss the thing that your body works all together. So when you're looking at your digestive health, and when I say digestive health, I want you to consider, what are your bowel movements like? If you experience bloating, where exactly do you experience that bloating? Is it, more toward the rib cage area? Is it in the middle? Is it on the side? Is it the lower half? The location that you're experiencing discomfort can give you some insight into what's going on. I also want you to consider how you feel while you're eating and how you're feeling in between meals. So if you're experiencing, before you start eating, you're getting really shaky or cranky and irritable. Derek used to say that I got hangry. I actually used to give him 3 different warnings. There was the, hey, I'm hungry. Then I'm hungry. And then when we got to the 3rd hungry, I was shaky, I was mean, and I needed food right then. So if you're experiencing that, red flag, that's not good. Okay? If you're having diarrhea after you're eating, that's also telling you something. If you're cramping, any kind of discomfort or really big mental shifts or energy shifts before, during, or after eating, all red flags to you. Okay? So it might just be something in your digestion. You might be having an allergic reaction to something. But either, in any case, it's your central nervous system and your peripheral nervous system is a part of this, right? And they're communicating together. Okay? Derek? Did you get that?
Yeah, I got it.
You have any thoughts about that?
I'm glad we're through the hangry portion of our life.
You should have seen his eyes get big. There was a memory that popped up right there.
Oh, yes, there was.
Okay, so I keep saying this over and over. The nervous system's involved with digestion. Brain is the kickstarter for that.
Brain is the kickstarter for digestion.
Okay, if your brain is distracted, if it's stressed, if it's grieving, if it's angry, if it's these things, and you come to the table to eat, assuming you're eating at the table, you come to the table to eat, you simply cannot have access to the full digestive functions because your brain is just not in it. Okay, that's when you can start looking at support and doing these different things, and we can get into details about that later. But I want to give you some tidbits right now that you can practice until the next podcast, and perhaps you can just note any changes you're experiencing. Does that sound good? Good idea?
Sounds like a good place to start.
Okay. All right. So we're looking at what you can do to help bring your body into that rest and digest state. First, I want you to realize when you think about being hungry. I think, therefore I am. So, I think I'm hungry. I am hungry. I think I'm going to eat, so I'm going to eat. Just get it in your head. And, oh, I'm so hungry. Food in my mouth, right? Take a pause. Oh, I think I'm hungry right now. Maybe notice, why do you think you're hungry? Derek, what are usually some signals that you know that you're hungry?
Well, I start salivating when I smell something.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So your brain is getting your mouth ready for some food. It's telling you, I want that food, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else that you notice?
No, just enjoying the smells of food cooking.
Okay. Yeah. So you might be more hyper aware of the presence of food. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
You walk out the back door and you smell barbecue.
Oh,
you realize that you're hungry.
Or some good Mexican food. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, yeah. Whew. Folks, I'm hungry right now. All right. So give yourself a minute to think about being hungry. Notice how do you know that you're hungry? Where are you feeling that? And now prepare. If you can cook your food, that's fantastic. Because when you're cooking your food, you smell it. You can hear it cooking. You usually have to taste it to make sure the taste is good, right? Before you serve it, you don't want to serve like bad tasting food, so you normally taste it throughout the time. Well, all of that is engaging. When you taste it, your taste buds are getting a part of the process. That's telling your brain information. Then your brain can tell your other organs what it needs to prepare for. Okay, so if you can cook your food, that's the goal. Okay, but what if you can't? Derek, what if you can't? What might you do instead?
Well, I would say you could start practicing what you've been teaching us. Get the food in front of us, look at it, smell it, take slow, deep breaths, think about your food. Yep.
So you can still engage with the food, even if you don't cook it. Again, cooking does a different dynamic because you have to linger, you have to wait. It gives your body time. But let's say you go through a drive-through, and I don't do this anymore, but I can remember going through like a Wendy's drive-thru or like a Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and those freaking fries, man. They're such easy grabs, and the smell is so tantalizing. You just want that. All right? So instead of just grabbing the bag and just start eating as you're driving, find somewhere to park, take a moment, look, at least let your eyes look at the food, smell it, and give a moment for things to settle before you start to eat. Okay? And like Derek has already said, take some breaths. When you're taking those breaths, I can guarantee you that food's going to waft into the nostrils and you're going to have some interaction there. Okay? So you want nice full breaths. Where are you doing this? It's a great time to pray over your food, feeling grateful and thankful that you have this food to eat. And those things, just doing those simple things before you actually put the food in your mouth will give a chance for your brain to get your body ready to start breaking down that food and absorbing that food and then eventually assimilating that food. And then while you're eating, chew your food well.
Oh, that's so hard.
That is so hard. 15 to 32 times is the recommendation. There's a couple reasons why, but one reason, I will tell you the reasons. I was thinking about not, but I'm going to. One of the reasons is, one, you need to be able to chomp down that food, and you want it to become like a paste consistency. It's called, you ready for this? Bolus. It's a fantastic word.
Bolus.
Bolus. What happens with that bolus is your spit, your saliva has had a chance to start working on breaking that down. Your teeth have already started to mechanically break that down, so that when you send it back, when you swallow it and send it down to your stomach, it's more in a ready state. Okay? So you want to chew that food really well to create that bolus so that can go down to your stomach and be prepped. The other thing is I already mentioned this, but on your taste buds, you have all these receptors for taste. And that taste gives your brain information. It also gets your pancreas information for the kind of food that's coming down.
So taste isn't just for taste.
Taste is not just for taste, right?
Wow.
So you can taste it. It's for your enjoyment, right? For you to experience things. But those flavor profiles tell your brain something, and then your brain tells the digestive organs the kind of food that's coming in. And then those, I just learned this, those will continue to taste the food to see what kind of enzymes that are needed, if there's bile that is needed. And so throughout your GI tract, there's actually like more taste buds.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, super fascinating. And all of that can happen more effectively if you just chew the food.
Got it.
Got it? All right. So for now, that's what we have. I hope that was okay.
That was good. That was good.
If you do find something helpful, I would love to get your feedback if you want to leave a comment, just so I know what information is most helpful to you, so I can insert or, fine tune what's going on here. All right. Any final thoughts, Derek?
Slow down and enjoy your food.
Slow down and enjoy your food. Spoken like a true champ. All right. Well, I am Rachel.
And I'm Derek.
And we are hoping to help you put the pieces of your health together.
See you next time.